Twitter has been streaming, and the stock has been flying, a conduit to the crossfire of the political whirlwind. Will this bluebird have its wings clipped, or can Twitter secure its place as America's second screen?
While we're out here in San Francisco, we need to address the stunning turnaround at Twitter. For ages, the stock seemed like social media also ran, doomed to forever disappoint investors who believed in the popularity of his platform. But then the company reported some spectacular numbers. And since the beginning of the new year, Twitter stock has become a juggernaut. It is up 42% year to date, even after today's $1.39 pullback. At a moment when Snap and Facebook are both overhauling their main platforms and generating some acrimony in the process, I should add, Twitter is reaping the rewards from quietly tinkering with its site, improving it constantly, making it a more pleasant place to be that also happens to be profitable. Yet Twitter got serious about purging the trolls and the bots, with the result that in the latest quarter, the company's average daily users increased by 12%. That's a stunning number. And they're doing a much better job of monetizing those users. So could today's weakness be a part of an overall tech rout, I have to say, be a buying opportunity, this newly reinvigorated social media stock? Let's check in with Ned Siegel. He is Twitter's new chief financial officer. Find out more about this terrific turn and where his company is at. Mr. Siegel, welcome to Mad Money.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
This has been an amazing turnabout. And I think a lot of people didn't see it coming. Could you give me the bones of what happened here to make this stock double in no time flat?
Well, a couple of years ago, when Jack came back to the company, he did a bunch of really important things. First, he got the company focused around a handful of really important priorities. We're much more clear now on what we are and what we aren't, and we invest in trying to help people find out what's happening in the world and help them be a part of the conversation. Before, we tried to do too many things. With too many priorities, you end up executing less well on all of them. We're a smaller team than we were a couple years ago, but we're much more focused and we've executed a lot better. And
you are humble. I mean, when you talk about now, you say, listen, it turned out to be harder than we thought to get on. You talk about the billions of people who don't come today. There is a change in the narrative. There is one of humility and a sense that we can do better every single day.
We do feel a sense of humility. But we also know that everybody in the world could benefit from what happens on Twitter. Today, we've got 330 million monthly active users as of the end of the fourth quarter, and we grew our DAU double digits for the fifth consecutive quarter. But we feel like everybody in the world can benefit from what's happening and what people are talking about on Twitter. So there's still a lot of work in front of us.
Okay, well, you say today you've got that. Well, obviously, I have to talk about what happened today. Rex Tillerson, who was one of the most powerful CEOs in the world and became Secretary of State, learned that he was fired today on Twitter. Did you ever think that this medium, when you worked at Goldman Sachs, would become the way that a president would actually break news and even fire people?
Yeah, I didn't. I bet you didn't either.
No.
When I see Jim Cramer's got 1 million followers on Twitter and all the news that breaks on Twitter every day, I'm blown away. It's a lot of what attracted me to the company, a sense of mission, that this is where people go to find out what's happening in the world, and it's where people go to break news as well.
Well, I mean, it does seem, when you talk about 1 billion, that after today's kind of tweet, and of course the tweets can be longer now too, it seems like it would be impossible not to read Twitter. That is my view, that could be the case.
I hope you're right, but we also know that there's a lot that we have to do to surface the right content for you. So we should know what you're looking for before you know. There could be breaking news about something that's happening close to you or something that's important to you but far away, and we should be telling you about it and making it highly relevant to you. We've made a ton of progress on the onboarding process and in the timeline to do that, but there's still a lot more work to do.
How come I don't have as many trolls and hate bots in my 1 million followers? What did you do?
Well, we're always working hard to improve the health of the platform. Jack's been talking a lot more about it recently. He actually did a live broadcast on Periscope last week to talk more about it. The work will never be finished, but it's something that we've been doing for some time, just working to make sure that we can have as constructive and safe a dialogue for those that should be there as possible.
Which is a bigger opportunity, your amazing engagement in video or all the data that can be used for anybody, any company, to be able to figure out where their business is going?
Well, they really feed into each other. Video is a big part of the overall strategy. If we want to help you know what's happening in the world that you might care about, and if we want to help you share what's important to you, video is going to be a big component of it, whether it's live video and it's user-generated content or it's content from somebody who owns content and wants to get it in front of more people. That's just going to be one of the important ways that people share what's on their minds or find out what's happening in the world. Similarly, it's part of creating the data that we then are able to sell to companies. One of the great things about our data business is we don't have to decide what the business models are for these companies.
Right.
We give them access to our data, and they build great businesses around it.
Yeah, they really do. I have seen it myself. I look at the street. We were deciding, you know what, we ought to give a 30-second snippet rather than a whole thing. Boom. They onboard to YouTube. It is rather amazing. One thing I do have to say, though, is not everybody is as coherent about this. Is there a way to make it so everybody can learn about how great Twitter could be for their business? Better than you do it now.
How great Twitter can be
for their own business. I feel like some of it's just too much trial and error. Sure. That there have been courses where other people have blazed that I just want to know what they're doing. Yeah,
we've got a lot of work to do there. If you think about it, there are millions of small businesses, just as one example, that are on Twitter. And local is such a great use case for Twitter. If you want to know in San Francisco if there was an earthquake, the way to find out about it is on Twitter. If you want to hear about the Giants or the Warriors and you want to interact with the players or find out what Draymond's mom is saying, you go to Twitter and you're a part of the conversation and you can tweet back. We've got all these local businesses that are on Twitter, but they're not advertising on Twitter the way that they might on other platforms, mostly because we just haven't made it easy for them. We've done a lot of work there recently to create a subscription product for them so that they can advertise easier on Twitter, but there's still a lot of work to do to get more of them on Twitter.
And I think that subscription product is a great idea. Now, your predecessor, an old friend of mine, Anthony Noto, he and I would always talk about, I said, I want more sports, more sports, more sports. I want baseball, but I also want high school lacrosse. I want what's going on in major leagues, in soccer, in touring. Can all this happen?
It definitely can happen. Anthony was a great advocate for our live business and a terrific leader at Twitter, and we're sorry to see him go, but really happy to see him in a role that he's excited about at SoFi. The live business, all that content you're describing is a critical part of helping people find out what's happening in the world and being a part of the conversation, but it doesn't always have to be happening on Twitter. So often we have the conversation even if we don't have the content. And when we do have the content, people can be a part of the conversation, they're engaged longer, and we get complimentary eyeballs for the content owners, and we get ad dollars that we probably didn't have access to otherwise.
Well, I know you came from Goldman. You have a great reputation there. It sounds like that this is an opportunity that at this point is much bigger than what you might have even thought of just 5 years ago.
We have such a big opportunity, Jim. We think about all the people in the world that don't use Twitter yet, and the work that we're doing to make Twitter great for the people who are on it should benefit everybody else, too, as we do a better job of getting it in more people's hands.
Well, I think people should recognize that this one is the way the president communicates, but it's also the way billions of other people can communicate. That's Ned Siegel, CFO of Twitter, TWTR. You know I'm a supporter of the stock. I just think this company has got a lot more room to grow. Stay with me. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.